You are listening to WPHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk radio.
We've been expecting you.
It's Monday, time for our mistress of the supernatural, Denise Pridemore. This is the Paranormal Pride. Join to listen and chat live on WBHM-DB.com or Spreaker app. Search WBHM-DB every Monday at 7 p.m. Central for your supernatural paranormal fix. Welcome to the Paranormal Pride, where the show is about the guest and the listener.
Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm Denise Pridemore, your host. Tonight, my guest is Kurtis Miller, and some of you may have heard about this location in Scottsgrove, Iowa. It's been on TV a lot in the last few months or few years. And if you'd watched Ghost Adventures recently, it was on rerun in the Edinburgh Manor. We've never been there. Pridemore Paranormal's never been there, and a lot of my friends have been there. And then Kurtis is also he's the founder of a paranormal team called Unseen Entities Paranormal. So welcome, Kurtis, to the Paranormal Pride. I hope that you're having a great night.
Oh, I am. Thank you.
Well, there's a million things that people can say about another person. And since your biography was so huge, there's not a lot I can say. So would you like to introduce yourself a little bit more?
Okay.
Because I know there's more to you than, Unseen Entities Paranormal and Edinburgh Manor tour guide.
Yeah. My name's Kurtis Miller. I'm actually from Makokata, Iowa. It's a real small town. Dubuque is about 30 miles to the north of us. Davenport's about 30 miles to the south of us. We're just right on the kind of the tip of the Iowa. We're about maybe 20 miles to the west of the Mississippi River. Very small town. Actually, there's even some stuff that's even active around town that I've investigated. I'm really big into the Civil War. I've investigated several different battlefields. Investigated some of the Old West sites, but Edinburgh Manor is probably the one I usually investigate a lot. Of course, I'm one of the tour guides there, which it kind of helps me out a little bit that I can go in maybe an hour or two early and just test out some new equipment and just see how things are actually going for other groups that actually do spend the night there.
Well, I have talked to Josh and Katie in the past, and so I've had them on when I was on another network, and the rest of the team that they have. Needless to say, I know Josh and Katie. I actually met Katie personally last year while she was pregnant, and that little one is adorable. And I know that you recently did some things with either communicating with Josh and Katie on doing an investigation or something. I saw something on your Facebook page, so I know that you're friends with them.
Yep, we did a joint investigation at Diviner Furniture, which is the old Rock Island YMCA. That's fast becoming another really good hot spot for paranormal investigations. Unfortunately, they couldn't stay very long. They stayed probably maybe, I want to say 3.5, 4 hours. We had a major snowstorm that actually kind of hit late, last week or so, and it just we did get some pretty good evidence. We were in one room, and I believe Josh asked the spirits to lower the temperature by a couple degrees, and I had an EDI meter there, which also read the temperature. And it took them a little bit to lower the temperature, and it actually did lower it by 2 degrees.
You should have asked them to raise the temperature into spring-like,
Yeah.
Considering that you guys were you were in a bomb cyclone. Nobody wanted to be in that. So, because all we got down here was rain. And are you guys having any flooding up where you're at?
There are some places that are flooded. I know Bellevue, which is a little bit towards the north and the east of us, kind of on the Mississippi River itself. They got some flooding. We have a small river, the Maquoketa River, which did have a little bit of flooding, but most of it's gone away now. So,
well, the bad part is all the thawing hasn't even occurred north. So that's what's
I know.
Ron and I used to live on the Mississippi River down north of Memphis. So,
okay.
So, of course it's warmer down there, but it flooded more than 8 miles inland. So I know how bad the flooding can go in that part. That's the only flood I was ever in, and luckily it was only like 2 feet deep where I lived, but it ended where I lived. So,
oh wow,
it was 37 years ago that I was down there. So where we've lived on high ground ever since. And of course now we can't get north of St. Joe without having to take back roads because I-29 shut down going between here and Omaha. So a lot of people had a heck of a time getting to Hauntacon this weekend from down here. Yeah,
I have friends, they're Short Bus Paranormal, and they actually went out there, and they're like, yeah, it was a little hectic trying to maneuver away, just around that area. So luckily, they made it back and everything, and they said it was a lot of fun. It was a really good time. I wish I actually could have gone, but I actually had to let some people in at Edinburgh Manor and also give a tour there. So I got to meet a lot of really interesting and neat people.
How long have you been doing tours at Edinburgh?
For a little over a year. I've been going there off and on for probably about 2.5, 3 years. It's just an absolute beautiful location. Met a lot of really interesting people. Every time I go there, it's always a different experience. It's quite unique.
I understand. We were the tour guides at the Sally House for 6 years. So it's always interesting to be a tour guide at a reputedly infamous haunted location. I kind of wish I could say, it's always hunky-dory and it's a happy dandy location all the time, but no, it's not.
No, it isn't. There's been times I've gone to the Manor itself, and actually I'll go into a location, whether it be the men's ward or the women's ward, and I usually normally go with my gut. I'm not a medium or an empath. But I go with my gut feeling, and I stick with it. And there's times I'll walk into a certain area and it's something, I don't know what it is. It just does not feel right. And I just back completely off, and I'll go in there maybe, half an hour later, and it's
totally
gone.
different.
It's completely,
I know. It's very strange, and Ron goes with his gut too. He's not, my husband Ron is not an empath or anything like that, but he could always tell when it was going to be active at a location. And he says he's a stud. Is what he says, a stud muffin. The peanut gallery has spoken, and so he could always tell when we went into a place if it was going to be active or not. But he always had me telling him in advance if it was going to be active or not too. So it's always interesting to hear that. But we lucked out that the Edinburgh episode of Ghost Adventures was just on. Because I don't watch a lot. I mean, I watch all the shows, but it goes in one ear and out the other. I don't retain it because Ron says it's because I'm playing with my phone. It's because I haven't been to the location. If I've been to the location, I pay close attention to every bit of it and I tear it apart. Okay. Being a volunteer at McPike Mansion, I tore that episode to bits.
That's one place I would love to go. I haven't been there yet.
Well, I will tell you, if you want to go, there are monthly tours there, and since you can't get into the house, gotta keep that in mind. There is no walking around and investigating the house. You get into the basement. You do that on a tour. That's the best way. Or you go to the camp out that is going to be on. That's when we go. That's when I get worked my butt off, no matter how sick or anything I am. Denise. October 19th, $35. You get to camp. You bring your tent, and you can camp right on the property from 5 o'clock at night to the next morning. It includes your weenies and your chili, donuts, all kinds of stuff, for $35, and you get to hang out. It's like a Paracon with a camp out.
Oh, okay.
Without any speakers. And the only speaker you need is really, you got Sharon, who's the owner. Coyote Chris comes, and everybody nowadays knows Coyote Chris from Vidi Space and all the events that he goes to. We've known him for 10 years now. And Sandy Little Lizard, who was on the episode that scared the daylights out of Zach. We all want him. And Igor the Bat. What more do you need than Igor the Bat? He's my favorite. So, and of course, then you got me and Ron are there too. But we all go and we have a great time, and all the money goes to help restore the house. The house is in, if you go back and you look at the old Ghost Labs, the Ghost Lab when they did McPike and Ghost Adventures, you can see a huge difference in the location. They have done so much work. All the windows have been repaired. All the doors have been repaired. The roof has been repaired. The porch, at this point, I can tell you anything that's been repaired in that place. But we've been volunteering there for 10 years now. So,
that's awesome.
But just put that on your calendar, because she only takes so many people to go to this event. And she's also going to be at the Haunted Road Media Paracon on June 1st at Mineral Springs.
Yeah, see, that one I can't make. I'm actually that weekend that's actually going on. Myself, Short Bus Paranormal.
Right. You guys are going down to Waverly Hills.
Yep.
Either that or the week. Are you going with them to Mineral Springs that weekend before?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys are going to Waverly Hills, because I just had them on. So see, I pay attention. I know what's going on. I'm not paying attention to my phone all the time. So
that one is actually on my bucket list. That was one I really wanted to do, and when Nick and Sue actually came up and asked me if I would like to go, and I'm like, yeah, I would really love to go.
I was telling them, I said, if you guys have any questions about where not to stop along 64, just ask. I'll tell you.